We are covering other stories, and we go to the US and, well, all the president's incompetent men. We now have the director of the CIA assuring us that the defense secretary was not drunk when he invited journalists into that Signal group, it's like a WhatsApp group, to discuss bombing Yemen. I mean, this is extraordinary stuff. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth told reporters yesterday,
"There's no units, no locations, no routes, no flight paths, no sources, no methods, no classified information. You know who sees war plans? I see them every single day."
And of course he's been defended, currently, defence of the Defence Secretary from President Trump.
There was no harm done because the attack was unbelievably successful that night, and it has been unbelievably successful every single night for the last 4 or 5 nights.
Well, I'm not a military bloke, but I know someone who is. Major General Jonathan Shaw was former Assistant Chief of the Defence Staff at the Ministry of Defence and is now consultant for MAST Security and joins me now. Good to have you on board, sir. So I'm going to read some of these signal messages and then ask for your interpretation, if I could, as to whether it is sensitive information or whether it is not. Pete Hegseth, team update. Time now, 11:44 ET. Weather is capitals favourable. Just capitals confirmed. W, which is with CENTCOM. We are go for mission launch. 12:15, F-18's capital launch, brackets first strike package. 13:45, quotes, trigger-based F-18 first strike window starts, brackets, target terrorist is at his known location, so caps should be on time, close brackets. 14:10, more F-18's capital words, launch. And so it goes on. 14:15, strike drones on target, and on and on. I said earlier, I'm not a military bloke. It looks sensitive to me. What's the reality, Major General? Morning.
Good morning indeed. No, you're absolutely right. Of course it's sensitive. And indeed, if I can just say at the start, I don't think that... I think that all this quibble about whether the information itself is sensitive or not is a distraction from the fundamental fact that they should not have been discussing any of this stuff on a non-government, non-secure means. You know, as Senator Kelly pointed out to the intelligence chiefs yesterday, you know, DoD rules forbid talking about this sort of stuff on private, you know, on civilian communication means. That's why you have government secure communications, so you can have secure conversations with people. This is a flagrant breach of protocol, and you know, it's really... It's terrible.
I'm going to ask you a question, of course, to which there is no answer. So this is what we have found out about Major General. Imagine what we don't know that might have been going on in the US.
Well, there are all sorts of questions that come out of that. I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, to go into that, really interesting. What comes out about when you read all the emails is the uncertainty about the purpose of the attack. Why was this attack launched in the first place? There's no clear explanation. Was it to beat Israel to the punch? Because otherwise, if Israel struck first, then Trump would lose his status as the big boy on the block. Was it in order to extort money off the Europeans? I mean, you get to the impression, and you look for the rationale, that this is a really sort of unthought through operation launched for reasons that are absolutely unclear.
Lastly, as someone who's been brave enough to serve and reach a senior position, you'll know the severity of what's going on here. People's lives are being put on the line. People's lives are being taken in Yemen. And yet, can I put it to you, all the president's men are discussing it as if it's an American football or baseball game. The tone doesn't feel right to me, Major General.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I think it's disgraceful, and I think the tone of the response to Mr. Goldberg, the editor of the Atlantic, does America a great disservice. Because I think, you know, if you're a schoolmaster and you heard school kids treating each other the way that the administration has treated Goldberg, you'd clip them around the ear and say, "Oi, that's not grown-up behaviour. You know, behave." And, you know, I've served alongside many, many great Americans, and I just feel embarrassed on their behalf that these guys are doing the United States an enormous disservice. I think they're damaging the soft power of America globally, and they're making everyone looking at America thinking, what an awful place, what a ghastly bunch of people. And, you know, Mary, whatever, Taylor, thingy, what's her name? I can't remember her name now.
Anyway, you got me a little bit caught there, but go ahead.
The response to the Sun, the Sky journalist.
Oh yes, Sorry, yes.
Marjorie Taylor, just awful.
Martin Taylor Greene, I think you're speaking
Martin
of.
Taylor Greene is
Yep.
indeed the lady I'm talking
Well,
about.
it was like
I think the
Scrabble
whole
there, Major.
tone
It
of
was
the
like you
debate-
gave me a Scrabble game there. You sort of threw all the letters on the board and work it out. Yeah.
Sorry, my mistake.
Not at all.
But yes, I think so. I think the whole thing does the United States an enormous disservice, because they're great people in the United States, and I don't think that these people are representing them in any way that does them credit at all.
Always good to speak to you. Thanks for your time. So Major General Jonathan Shaw was Assistant Chief of Defence Staff at the MOD and is now consultant for MAST, as in telephone mast, MAST Security.